Well, good afternoon, and a blessed feast of St. George to us all. The George we remember today was a Palestinian and probably a soldier in the Roman army. Christianity attracted a lot of soldiers in the years after Jesus because they looked out for each other. And when one died, they made sure that he got a decent burial and that his family was taken care of. George was not a Brit, but Celtic Christianity likely had its origins in Roman occupiers in the 2nd century. They included soldiers who were sent to keep the peace. By the late 3rd century, the abundance of Christians throughout the Roman army led Emperor Diocletian to doubt their loyalty, and he began to purge the army of Christians. George was probably one among many who refused to offer sacrifice to the Roman gods. The stories say that he shared his goods with the poor, and that he openly confessed his Christianity before he was martyred at Lydda, which isn't far from modern Tel Aviv. There's a church there in the town of Lod dedicated to St. George, and it shares space with the Al-Khidr Mosque. Al-Khidr is a messenger or prophet who is often linked with St. George in the Near East. St. George's Monastery has been in the town of Al-Khadr for many centuries, and the Feast of St. George is celebrated there each year by the Muslim residents and 1 or 2 Orthodox Christian monks. The saints are bridges between the human and divine, and some of the most remarkable ones build bridges between warring groups of human beings and between their faith traditions. Not just St. George, but more modern examples like Thomas Merton and the Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa, Archbishop Tutu. The whole of George's witness, including the legendary chapters, is about the defeat of whatever separates us from more abundant life. George's martyrdom insists that Christians bear ultimate allegiance only to God. And it also insists that one can be a Christian in every walk of life, including military service. A dragon is terrorizing the whole country, breathing fire and poison on all who approach. Does it remind you of political discourse? The populace offers 2 sheep a day to keep the dragon at bay. Soon there are no more sheep. Lots are drawn to select a human sacrifice. The king's daughter's number comes up, and she goes to meet her fate dressed as a bride. We still don't remember the names of innocent victims. George intervenes and wounds the dragon, and it is meekly led away with the princess's belt or scarf for a halter. St. George's witness challenges us to screw up our courage and say no more to fire-breathing, fear-mongering dragons and despots and the waste of all kinds of life. There's an echo in that legend of what the risen Jesus says to his disciples on the beach after their fruitless night of fishing. Jesus asks Peter if he loves him more than these others on the beach. And he keeps telling Peter, "Feed my lambs, tend my sheep, feed my sheep, save them from the dragons." And finally, Jesus says, "When you were younger, you used to fasten your own belt and go wherever you wished. But when you grow old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will fasten a belt around you and take you where you do not wish to go." Like the dragon, most of us have experience of cinching up our own belts and heading into battle for our own purposes. The dragon is really about overweening power and ego. George leads the dragon off and does away with it. And the whole population decides to quench that fire in the waters of baptism. Tend the sheep, lead them to water. With Christ, all things are possible, even subduing our own interior fire-breathing dragons. The next time the dragon emerges, in a traffic jam, in your boss's office, in a family spat, think about whose belt you're wearing. Is it a tyrant's armor or a flimsy scarf? May we recall the sign marked on our foreheads and wage peace amidst division. The saints go looking for dragons, especially in unfamiliar or unexplored parts of the world. They may be interior ones or the warring world around us. Our ancestors marked those fearsome and unexplored parts of the map. "Thar be dragons." We have plenty of dragon work to do in learning to love all our neighbors. And the frisson of fear, or the fun and fellowship and silliness that those old legends evoke, might even help us screw our courage to the sticking place and go exploring. Go tackle a dragon and quench its fire with kindness.